Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about racist Halloween costumes. Again, it seems like this issue comes back every October nowadays, at least for the last 2 or 3 years or so. And when I say issue, I mean the left-leaning moral busybodies take issue, not normal sane people who realize the obvious. Halloween costumes are not racist. This year we're taking a look at a video from the Think Tank, and despite their name, there's not a lot of critical thinking going on there. The video is called How to Not Culturally Appropriate This Halloween. Let's check it out.
Halloween is just around the corner, and it seems like
Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
every Halloween we deal with another issue of cultural appropriation. Actually, it feels like every week we deal with an issue of cultural appropriation, but Halloween is like cultural appropriation on steroids.
No, it's not. Halloween is a fun holiday where kids dress up in costumes and walk around the neighborhood knocking on doors and collecting candy. That's it. It's not racist if a white kid dresses up as a black basketball player. It's not cultural appropriation if a black kid dresses up as Captain America, who's white for a reason. The only reason this cultural appropriation thing keeps coming up for you is because you're the ones getting triggered by costumes. Let's not forget Think Tank is a channel on the Young Turks network, so if you're familiar with them, which they've been covered on this channel before, you'll know what I'm talking about. To put it briefly, TYT is a stark liberal, left-wing, anti-white biased channel. That's why they get triggered by cultural appropriation every week. It's because you're terrible people who call everyone racist all the time, and you're trying to police what costumes other people can wear on Halloween. The Young Turks are a bunch of pathetic losers who think they're relevant and act like they have some sort of moral authority over everyone else. They don't. Also, did you guys notice the girl on the right has broad fucking written right on her shirt there, right on top of her tiny little tits? Seems a little ironic for this kind of video.
So going in blackface, probably not a good idea.
Like a poor choice.
Yeah,
Really poor choice.
Really poor choice. You can paint your skin pink, blue, green.
The only time I think it's appropriate
Gold?
to paint your skin this Halloween is if you're dressing up like Donald Trump and you want to paint your skin orange. It's the only time that's appropriate because I don't think that's cultural. I think that's just more like his personal choice.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. Skin color is skin color. You don't get to pick and choose what races and skin colors are allowable for costumes. You guys aren't the fucking morality police. I say they're all allowable because I'm not some sort of triggered little pussy. I don't give a shit. But if you are gonna say some skin colors are offensive to dress up as, at least be consistent. You can't just say one color is okay because you clearly don't like a person who has it. Donald Trump in this case. That's just a blatant double standard based on your liberal bias. This is so wrong, but stuff like this really doesn't surprise me anymore. I mean, if it weren't for double standards, liberals wouldn't have any standards at all.
Plus, let's get into this a little bit more, and we'll get into some of the other tips here. But one of the things is I think you can satirize your own culture.
You can satirize your own culture? Where do they find these two idiots anyway? Oh yeah, TYT is shot in California. These fuckers make us all look bad.
Right, so if you are white and you paint your skin orange, that's, and your own culture that you're satirizing. And so that's a little bit different because it's not that distinction between oppressor and oppressed. But once you sort of separate that stuff out, if you are on the side of the oppressor, you cannot dress up as the oppressed and try to satirize it.
Let me translate that for you guys. Whites are always the oppressors, and everyone else, they're the oppressed. Essentially, to these guys, if you're white, you're fucking screwed.
If you are not Muslim, maybe don't dress up as Muhammad. If you're not Christian, don't dress up as Jesus. There's just little things.
I was wondering if you get to Jesus here. Funny how she brings up Muslims first though, who aren't even allowed to draw a fucking picture of Muhammad, let alone dress up as him, but that's besides the point. Why bring up Muslims first when we're talking about Americans here? America's a country that's about 1% Muslim, so why even mention that? Why is that on the front of her mind? I'm not sure, but it may be something to do with this ditzy bitch's Muslim apologist boss, Cenk Uygur, aka the Fat Brown Buffalo, copyrighted by AIU. This guy, Cenk Uygur, is the reason TYT covers the Muslims more than they should, and he's the reason they hate on white people so much. While we're at it.
If you're feeling on the fence about it, ask them.
Yeah.
But maybe everybody should try to go a little bit more neutral this Halloween instead of diving into race issues because we've had enough of that.
Yeah, race.
Well, when you overuse the word it's kind of hard to pay attention to what you're talking about. For example, you said that the country is on high alert now, but that's just you. You're the ones who are getting more offended about everything, butthurt little pussies. I think you're projecting.
It's just Halloween's supposed to be fun. You don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I get that everybody's like, oh, it's too PC, blah, 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 blah. But like at the same time, like, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Let me go ahead and translate that for you guys. I feel like I'm some sort of Valley Girl whisperer today. Jesus. Basically, don't be an asshole means do exactly what these two brain-dead idiots say, or you're an asshole. They say it like it's common sense or something, but you really never know with these kinds of people. Anything can offend them with the right reasoning. That sailor's costume could be offensive to Navy veterans or something. Or dressing up as a police officer could offend black people because they're so oppressed. Hell, wearing a Batman mask could offend Superman fans. This sort of faux outrage never ends. I personally say all costumes are okay. In fact, the more offensive, the better. Being something crazy like, say, dressing up as Kathy Griffin with the bloody Trump head in her hand, that's the kind of stuff that makes Halloween fun. At least it used to. I voted for Trump and I wouldn't even be offended by a costume like that. Not in the slightest. I'd think it's hilarious. One of the best costumes I had as a kid was me wearing a Bill Clinton mask with a little Pinocchio nose attached. Because Clinton was a liar, right? You get it? I don't know if I really got it since I was about 8 or 9 at the time, but it's stuff like this that makes Halloween fun. Well, it used to, and I say we bring that back. Let's give up on this PC, pussified, cultural appropriation bullshit, and let everyone have fun again.
Learn the history behind your costume ideas. This is kind of what I was talking about before, looking at historical context, right? Oppressor and oppressed. That's a really easy thing to see which category you fit in.
Pretty binary.
And then decide if this is a good idea or not. Something.
It's easy for you, maybe, because you've already simplified it so much in your head. Like I said before, whites are always the oppressors to these people. And to go further, men are always the oppressors too. Basically, white men are the worst, and women and minorities can do no wrong. To them, to the think tank and the Young Turks. Obviously, that's bullshit, and in reality, most people aren't oppressed at all. Not here in America, but these airheads have to invent reasons to be oppressed at this point. That way they get those victim points, which give them the power to boss others around, in their minds at least. It's a pretty sick, twisted logic that takes a minute or two for us normies to unpack. And the next step will really blow their minds. If we're gonna divide people into groups like oppressed and oppressors, it's really not as simple as these bitches think. Tank. I mean, black people are obviously oppressed to them, but they've oppressed others too in their time, and they would say cops are the oppressors, but others would say cops are heroes. It really depends on who you ask. No, they don't really care about the oppressor-oppressed dynamic. They care about the dynamic that they agree on. You're not allowed to have an opinion, according to them.
Often comes up is like these sort of like sexy costumes, and when you're talking about like sexy geisha girls, you know what I mean? And sort of, I can never say this word, so I'm gonna try it. Fetishizing? It's a really hard word for me.
Fetishizing.
It's a hard word. The fetishization.
Oh, there you go. But you can say that word.
Fetishization.
Yeah, I know. Words are so hard, especially when you have a brain the size of a peanut.
Of Asian women and their culture and and the way that like geishas were treated and like, you know, being more conservative and sexual and all those kinds of things perpetuates a lot of stereotypes that are really offensive for a lot of Asian women. So don't do it.
Well, I find it offensive that you think you could speak for Asian women like that. If they're really offended, let them speak for themselves. You don't get to speak for whoever you want, little lady. That's offensive. In fact, I'm offended that you're offended for someone else's potential offendedness, if that makes sense.
Don't be a sexy Native American. Don't be a sexy Eskimo. Like, be a sexy you. You know what I mean?
Be a sexy you and just like be thoughtful, right? Like I will never forget in college, my boyfriend at the time was like, I want to dress up like a ghost. And he was like, it'll be simple, I'll just get a sheet, put it over my head, put like 2 holes in it.
This video is basically just a long list of things you can't wear on Halloween. What a fucking buzzkill. Should have titled this Party Poopers Ruin Halloween or some shit.
Yeah, but just like think about it. He was just like quick fix and then it ended up just being horrible and we scrapped the whole idea and did something else. So like, I think we turned it into a toga. I think we wrapped the sheet into a toga and we're like, oh, you're like Greek, whatever.
What a great tradition.
But the Greeks killed people too, you know. They had wars and oppression and all kinds of dirt in their past. Just because you two idiots don't remember it doesn't mean it wasn't there. Sure, there's a strong argument to say that KKK were worse or at least more recent, but they're still just about as relevant as the Greeks at this point. It's been 100 years. I say we just let people wear whatever costumes they want. This is a free country after all. I thought this was America. Wearing a KKK costume as a joke on Halloween isn't gonna hurt anyone. And to be frank, the people who get so easily offended, they're the ones who should be changing here. These hypersensitive little pussies need to grow some balls. If Halloween costumes offend you, you got problems, not everyone else. Try changing yourselves for a change, instead of selfishly trying to bend the rest of the world to your whims.
And I think think, look, like, I understand that it's a learning process, right? Like, I think when I was younger, like, I dressed up as Pocahontas, right? And you know, like, it just wasn't in, like, the
zeitgeist. Like, your parents weren't thinking about it. We were, like, strong Native American women. Our parents were, like, Pocahontas. Like,
exactly. We just, like, weren't thinking about it.
Well, Hannah, no one used to care about this bullshit just 5 years ago. When you and I were kids, we could wear fun and interesting costumes for all races. And no one would call you a racist. I don't even know if the cultural appropriation phrase was even around back then. It certainly wasn't the leftist buzzword it is today. The truth is, left-wingers like you, Think Tank, and TYT, you guys are pushing this politically correct culture. You're creating this problem. So don't try and tell us how to navigate this made-up problem that you're getting all butthurt about. The real solution is for you to fix your shit. Drop your anti-white bigotry and your outrage culture and let people dress up as whatever they want.
And if you dress up as something and somebody, like, accuses you of cultural appropriation, don't, like, get defensive.
Just be like,
just be like,
why do you feel that way?
Yeah, exactly.
It's about hearing different opinions and different voices, which we have not done for a long time.
It's a really good
So
point.
this Halloween, go find somebody who's different than you and go talk to them.
Yeah, we've been listening to different voices for a while now, honey. It's been about 100 years since any stark racist oppression has been going on in this country, so I think you better shut the fuck up. Minorities, Muslims, and trannies have been championed everywhere, especially on YouTube. They're getting pushed like crazy for the last 3 years. And quite frankly, I think we've all heard enough from these voices.
What are you gonna be for Halloween?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I just ordered, like, a skeleton body jumpsuit off of Nasty Gal because they had 50% off sales. So I did that to kind of be lazy, but, like, I don't know, I might resurrect. I was Tanya Harding one year for
that's
Halloween.
a good one.
Yeah, and I had, like, tears streaming down my face, and, like, my boyfriend was the guy who, like, whacked her. So, like, that was kind of funny.
How on earth is that not offensive? Tanya Harding was a figure skater in the 90s. She won because her opponent Nancy Kerrigan got her legs broken by a male attacker just before the competition. Now, I'm not sure, but I think this think tank bimbo might have misspoke, since she said she was the one crying, and Kerrigan has the famous footage of her crying after the attack.
I don't know, some hard black stick. Something really, really hard. Help me.
So I think maybe she meant she dressed up as Kerrigan but said Tanya Harding. Either way though, she said her boyfriend dressed up as the attacker. How the hell is that okay? I guess cultural appropriation is wrong, but dressing up as someone who beat a girl and nearly ruined her career is fine? That's absolute bullshit. While I'll admit that these girls seem to mean well, they're so misguided it's pretty fucking painful to watch.
I kind of want to be Wonder Woman, but I think every girl and her mom is going to be Wonder Woman this year, and I'd like to be original.
Original, huh? You're a blonde bimbo with a Valley Girl accent, working for a left-wing news outlet in Culver City, California. It really doesn't get more cliche than that. But hey, at least your costume is going to be OG. That's about all I got for these two dunces. They don't really have much more to say. They really didn't say much to begin with. In the end, the girl on the right has really proven to be one of the biggest idiots and hypocrites of all time. The very shirt she's wearing in this video could be considered quite offensive. Not only does it have a blatant swear word in big bold letters across the middle, it also says Broad City, which is a show that's offensive to television and comedy in general. Couple that with her admittedly wearing costumes with her boyfriend that represented the Tanya Harding Nancy Kerrigan figure skating incident, which included a violent attack on women. Well, that means she's already got 2 big strikes against her. Oh, and I almost forgot the 3rd strike. She said it was not okay to wear other people's skin colors in costumes, unless it's someone she doesn't like Trump. That makes this a total strikeout for this bitch, and this whole think tank video. Strike 3, you're out of here. What do you guys think? Can Halloween costumes really be that offensive? And if they are, is it the offender's duty to change, or should the offended learn to deal with it? Comment your thoughts below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit.